In this week's Torah portion, Moshe faces the greatest challenge to his leadership than ever before. Korach, a cousin of his, riles up 250 fellow Jews to challenge how Moshe was able to take the number one position of authority for himself and give his brother the high priesthood, suggesting that Moshe may have done this on his own. And the fact that he took the choicest positions of power for his own family and himself suggests that maybe he was acting completely on his own accord and not by the advice of God. There's so much to say about the story, but I'd like to mention one thing. That although at the end, unlike any other story in the Torah, where Moshe actually is successful at beseeching God to forgive the Jewish people, where here at the very end, Moshe tells God, you really have to set Korach straight. And a miracle was performed where the earth opened up and swallowed Korach and his fellow revolutionaries. But up to that point, when Moshe actually told God, really, I can't take this anymore. How is this on my shoulders? This is not my responsibility. Have I ever taken anything from them? Have I taken even a donkey from them? Moshe, though, until the last moment, never gave up hope. He was always on the outside, reaching out to them, reaching out to the very people that caused him problems his whole entire life, to see if really, even up to the last moment, they're able to reconsider and rethink and convince them that if they go ahead with this, there'll be terrible repercussions. But what's interesting is there's a Hasidic take on Moshe's statement, have I taken a donkey from them? Moshe, obviously on the surface, trying to say, they've never done anything for me. Why are they angry at me? Why would they think that this is a position that anybody would want? I've gotten nothing for it. But what's interesting is, if he did get paid, a rabbi is not allowed to be paid. Would that make their approach and their position more justified? Unless, of course, there was another insinuation. That Moshe was saying, have I ever taken anything from them? That maybe if I would have taken something from them, maybe if I would have had more interaction, maybe I could have saved them from coming to this point. Not only was Moshe willing to do all in his power to really influence them and show them friendship and convince them otherwise, he even was willing to take some of the blame on himself, thinking that maybe he was one of those leaders that wasn't enmeshed or involved or engaged enough with the community. And maybe if he would have, they would have not come to this state. So there's a lot of beautiful lessons, especially as we come up to the Yortzeit, the 30th anniversary of the passing of the Rebbe. When we think of Moshe's qualities, certainly the Rebbe pops up immediately. The Rebbe never gave up on anyone. The most left of his positions on world politics, on Judaism, on Israel's stand of giving up land, on who was a Jew, it didn't matter. The Rebbe never had an issue with the Jew. Because the Rebbe believed that every single Jew deep down wants to do the right thing. But we have our backgrounds, our upbringing, our communities where we've lived, things that have happened to the Jewish people throughout our history. There's so much that goes into the making of who we are and what we have become. And that sometimes, or almost all the time, cannot be faulted. So the Rebbe never gave up on anyone, like we would never give up on a child. And secondly, the Rebbe always, like Moshe, understood that much of our behavior is simply the fault of circumstances. But there comes a time, though, that a person can step back and realize that after they've done everything, and after they think they've extended themselves, after all of that, there's still once in a while the Korach, when you realize that it's nothing that you've done, It's nothing that you could have done. The reaction of the people around you is simply about their own stuff and their own peckle. And many times they're going to have to deal with that first before they can rectify what's really happening. So, what's the lessons in life? Try to be there more. Try to engage more in the people around you. And maybe the outcome of their behaviors will be different. But also remember that you can't be blamed for everything. And that sometimes when people react and behave a certain way, it's just because they're still carrying around their own stuff. And you need to fix that first before you're ever going to fix them. And that's the beauty of Judaism. Focusing on others and still focusing on ourselves.